Hello everyone. Today is very special because I've got Vishnu Uday Kumar with me. Hello Vishnu.
Hello ma'am.
Vishnu is from IS department. Somehow these IS students are cracking everything. He has also got into Google. So congratulations Vishnu.
Thanks a lot.
And what is the designation and what's the designation?
So it's a technical solutions engineer and the responsibility is a mix of software engineer and site reliability engineer.
Yeah.
So it's more so a customer facing role where you have to interact with the premium cloud customers of Google, and you'll be providing them support. At the same time, if you find any bugs or troubleshoot, you have to work with the software engineering and SRE team to figure it out.
All right. So Vishnu, we did have Google, coming to the campus, and we. So when did you apply for this? Did you apply through the campus? But I heard that you have applied it on your own.
Yeah, I applied through the careers page. I was almost on a monthly basis. I scope out the roles at Google Careers website, and I just applied. And I think after I applied after 1 week or so, around October, November, the college also, like through the placement group, I got the mail for applying for the same role. So since I had applied for it, I did not apply again because I think I just thought it might redundant application might be a problem, so I never applied through that.
All right.
But it was for the same position and around the same time.
Okay, but anyway, it's really nice. So Vishnu, what actually made you apply to Google? Because a lot of students actually do not even think of applying.
No, for me it was my dream job. I think from 10th standard or 11th standard, I just had a plan that I should work in Google or Microsoft, but still Google was at a higher level because when you say Microsoft, the customers are still limited, but when you say Google, every person uses it. So just to work there, it felt like a big achievement for me. So I had been looking out for how to apply for their jobs and how their interview processes work. So I had been scoping out from the first year itself. So I just kept on applying from third year.
All right.
And luckily in this one particular position I got an
opening. So
started
looking at it from 10th itself, and even in the first year of engineering you were actually planning for that. So anyone who's a junior, keep this in mind, because see, why we are doing this interview is because an ordinary student just like you can actually get into Google. All right. So I'm so happy and I'm so proud. I just can't tell you how proud I am of the two students who have got into Google, because I thought maybe I will die, I will retire, and there still won't be anyone in Google. Thank you, for making this. This is a milestone for all of us. So please tell, what were the rounds?
Yeah, so initially, as I had applied in October, I got a link for a test, online assessment, and I think in the month of November, and that was straightforward. You had multiple choice questions and on web technology, on computer networks, on code debugging, and all these four and it was straightforward 30 minutes assessment round, and there was no negative marking as such, but it was there in the mail that it won't be the only criteria for selecting for further rounds. Your resume and any further details that they'll collect will also be used. So it was straightforward. I would say a medium to hard difficulty, and mostly going through the fundamentals, and if you know a bit of practical side knowledge also of how Linux systems work, that's what they are trying to test there, and it was straightforward.
Okay. And what was the next round after this?
Yeah, after this, I think around 1 month gap was there, and then they contacted for sharing a video that we record ourselves, a 1-minute video that describes why customers are important. And
so what was your research on this? Did you plan it out, have a script, and then sort of
yeah, I just basically went through the Google Cloud website and saw what they are aiming from their customers, like what kind of services they are trying to provide, and I just jotted down the points that they are trying to bring forward through their documentation, and I tried to mention those points in the video so as to show that I relate to their ideology.
Alright, and how long was this video?
I think I made a 45-second long video. They had a limit of 1 minute.
Oh, so it's a short one?
Short one, really short.
Alright.
So then again after 1 month, I think December end or January first week, I got a mail from the recruiter saying that they have shortlisted me for the further rounds, and they'll be carrying out the interview over a period of month, and soon after they'll be announcing the result. And they had an interview prep session for all the people who are going to appear for the interview, and they just basically showed whatever whatever the topics will be covered during the interviews and how it will be. So it was all interviews were one-on-one. There was only one person on the other side, and they shared a Google document with us so that whenever we type an answer, they can see it over there. And there were in total 4 rounds, interview rounds. One was a short 15 to 20 minute round where it was like a rapid fire. They keep asking on again web development, Linux fundamentals and Linux administration. Then they had code debugging and troubleshooting, computer networks and troubleshooting. So they would just ask a question. If you could answer it, they'll give a 5 to 10 minute pause, and if you could answer it's fine, otherwise they go forward. And the one thing I noted there was they were really friendly. They were never like, oh, you don't know that, or you might not be knowing that. They ask you in front whether you already know about this subject or topic. If you don't know, they go forward with another question. So there is no thing that you have to answer it.
All right. Yeah. But how many such questions were there where you said, I don't know? Very few, or quite?
It was few, or 2 or 3. The thing
out
was,
of, say,
yeah, I knew partially the answers.
Right.
That means maybe I don't know the exact topic that it was under, but I know what the theory is.
Okay.
Or I just know a one-word answer. I don't know how to explain it further. So they asked.
Absolute no's were how many? I don't know.
Absolute no's, I think there were 1 in the initial round, the 15 to 20 minutes round. There was 1 where I did not know it at all. Yeah, so I just went forward and told.
But as you say, the amount is very less, right? It's not like, okay, at least 70% is where you know something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. 70% I would say where I knew most of it, but
yes.
A 10% where I don't know it.
Yeah.
And the last 10% I just was completely blank. I never heard of it. That
so yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and then after this 30-minute long interview, they gave another 1 week of gap, and then they contacted me that there will be a continuous 3 rounds of interview on the same day, and each one will be 45 to 1 hour long. And there they had given me a complete structure of how what topics will be covered in each interview. So first one was web technology and code debugging. The second one was system design and again web technology. And the last one was a Googliness round that they call. It's basically a managerial round where you speak with the manager, and it will be more so situational based questions. And I would like to mention that the second and third round were completely open ended. So they would just they would give you a situation and you just discuss with them the whole time. So there is no right or wrong answer. They itself mentioned that we don't feel that we don't want you to answer the exact thing. We want you to go through the thought process that you think of, and they keep discussing with us. So if you answer one thing, they would be like, okay, that would work, but what if the situation is like this? They would just change it a bit, and then they would like to discuss further. So the second and third round were like that. Second one focused on the web technology part and the coding part, where they would give you a code. It's your preference what language you want, and once you choose the language, they would give you a code in the document, and you just have to explain them what the code would be trying to do and where its possible applications are, and then try to fix it or make it improve the code. And then some questions on web technology and databases, and they ask some Linux commands that as you know, the document is there, you just have to type it out in there, so you should know exactly what the thing is. So I was not completely sure, at 1 or 2 places I was not completely sure how it was represented in a Linux system. So I just told, I think this is how it should be, and they were like, oh, that's okay, if it's a bit wrong, it's okay, we just want to see what you know about already. So overall, they were really pleasant, and just by talking to them, you are talking to a Google engineer.
Okay. So you see any difference, or they just like us?
They are just like us, like casual human beings, but there is that aura, right? You feel when they talk only, you feel they are confident about what they say, and in between during the third round, in the system design round where I went wrong, with the confidence that they say, oh, I think this might be wrong, and I think this is how it should be, you feel okay, that is how it should be, because they tell it exactly what in detail what it is and what it is not. So it's a different experience, like the experience itself is on a different level.
All right. So you've attended other interviews. So you would say this stands out from the other interviews that you've had?
Yeah, it's on a completely different level, I would say.
Right.
I had attended an interview from Eurofins.
Yes.
And which was also really pleasant, but the experience of Google was a bit different.
Right.
The way they communicate and the kind of questions, there were no tricky questions. And like it was not like something that you memorize and you say over there. They never expect you to memorize and ask anything. And it was as I said, the third and fourth round was completely open-ended. So whatever you say is right, you just have to support your answer. So they never say it is wrong, or they never outright say no, this is not how it's meant to be. No, they accept your answer and then they ask to support the answer further. So there is never an answer of no, I think it's wrong. They never say that. So it was a different experience to have. And yeah, I would like to share, they shared a document of how to prepare for the interview with outlining all the topics that they are going to cover and some sample articles so that you can start learning about the topics. So they had shared a document, I think 1 to 2 weeks prior to the when the interview began.
So that helped you?
Yeah. So it actually gave me a point from where I should start reading about, because if you say computer networks, it's a really vast subject and you can't just prepare in 3 or 4 weeks. So they give 1 or 2 articles from where you can start preparing from, and once you get what kind of things they are expecting, you can go and research further. But they give you, and they even tell you what textbooks to refer if you want to go deep.
Oh, is it? So you can get in touch with them and
yeah. And I think one of the textbook was hosted in their own website, so you can just go and explore it. So they give you all the links and every material that you require during the interview. And as far as I have heard, if at all they ask for your interview, like when you are free, and whenever you are free you can schedule the interview. It's not like they give you an exact date. They give you a range of dates and you can fix on your own whenever you are free.
How long did it take? I mean, each interview, when you had these 4-5 interviews?
Yeah, so actually they said in one day 3 interviews will be done, the long ones, 45 minute to 1 hour long interviews. And after each interview, after 1 hour, I would get the next link to join on the next interview. But due to some constraints on their side, I'm not sure what it was, but it spanned for 2 days. So 2 interviews on the first day and the googliness round on the third day.
So each one was around 45 minutes to 1 hour?
Yeah, so I think both of them stretched to, the first 2 interviews stretched to almost 50 minutes, 55 minutes. And the point at during the third interview, that is a second 45-minute long interview, at some point the interviewer had to say I had to go for another meeting, so I can't continue further. We had a nice discussion, and at some point he had to stop because he has to go for the next one. And similarly for the googliness round, where a manager was there from Google, and we had a nice discussion on different situations. They give you situations where you are facing a client and they say so and so issue is there, and you just have to walk through the whole process of how to go about and solve the problem. And at some point we were just discussing about the different kind of clients that they get over during the month or during the day, how they get, and how the manager itself faces those problems and how he solves the problems daily. So it was a nice discussion, and then he had to stop it because the time was running out. So overall it was a really nice experience.
What was the toughest of all which round was the toughest?
I think rapid fire round was difficult because it was a screening round. After this, if you fail in this...
That's the first round?
Yeah, the first, what I told, the 15-minute long round. Because if you, it was a screening round, and if you don't pass that, you can't go further. Whereas the rest 3, once you start, you have to go through all the 3 rounds. And the time, as I said, they just ask a question and give you a 5 to 10 second break. So if you know, you know, otherwise they just move forward. So it was a bit hectic kind of thing, because you feel like you should cover as many questions as possible so that the chance of you getting into further rounds were higher. And they were direct questions, so you had to know it or you don't know it. So.
Alright. So what would you say for someone who has to prepare, who's planning to prepare for Google? So what should they concentrate on?
I think first of all, going through the interview experience of other candidates that you can get on Geeks for Geeks and all, and narrow down the position that one wants to apply, because there are a vast majority of like vast number of opportunities that you can apply in Google, going from technical, non-technical, all kind of backgrounds you can apply. So narrowing down to some particular fields because it's really vast, and then preparing for those, because you will get all the materials online. There are even on the Google's career website, they have noted down what kind of fields that particular position is looking for and what kind of expertise you need. So preparing for those, and then as I said, coding is important. If you are going for any engineering round, you should know coding. Although here it was troubleshooting and debugging, you should know in and out of data structures and algorithms to move through the question and actually be able to give a solution or note down the problems that are there in the code. So I would say data structures algorithm is really important. And then if you are going for technical solutions engineer in particular, computer networks and web technology is the other two fields that they are focusing on. They really want you to know in depth and some practical knowledge related to the same.
Alright. So did you apply specifically for this role, or did you apply for multiple roles and they shortlisted you for this?
Yeah, I had, as I said, they have a 30 days rolling period where you can apply for 3 to 4 roles in that 30 days of gap. And then, so what I used to do is from the third year itself, that is 2021, I used to keep on applying every month to 3 or 4 roles, limited to site reliability engineer, software engineer, and the technical solutions engineer, because I felt that this role is also interesting, because the rest two roles are really specific. This has a more wide domain range where you can learn a lot from the role. So only these 3 roles I used to apply on a rolling basis, and luckily for this particular one I was approached and like I got a mail that your assessment is on so and so date and you can go further. So this is actually the only role I got a reply for, and the recruiter contacted me for going for the further rounds. But yeah, you can apply for any roles through their career page, and there is no restriction for you should be like enrolled in an engineering program, or you should be having an engineering degree also. They just say either engineering or relevant experience. So you don't actually need to have a engineering degree.
Yeah.
So
yes. So Vishnu, thank you very much for sharing this. I hope it inspires a lot many candidates to apply, because average candidates from average colleges can actually apply and get it. We are very fortunate that we also have this internship from Google coming for the first and second years, where they give a stipend of 1 lakh per month, 1 lakh per month. So if you are a first year or second year, please go through the mails and try applying for that, and otherwise, in the final year they do come, and you can apply on your own. So Vishnu, thank you so very much for sharing your experience, and we wish you the very best.
thank you.
Yes,
Thanks.
and it's bye from both of us.